Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, January 6th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast, and I am your host, bringing in the new year, not making the same mistakes that Roman has. Jeremy Pearson. Once again, you know you can check me out on the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215. We've got coffee, we've got Patreon, and the Wix site will be coming hopefully within the next week or so. Well, first things first, let's start with our 2024 mission statement. And essentially, simply put, I want to be better. I want to do this consistently. I want to do this more. That means more content on YouTube, on Instagram, and that not only includes the wrestling part, but the movie and TV part as well. We've got some things coming for you. We're gonna have more lists. We're gonna do Reddit content. I'm working and I'm trying. All right. But today's show, we're going to have our 2024 predictions for AEW and the WWE. But for now, you know what's next. Let's go on and hit my music. You know what this part of the program is. It is our episode list. And this list are the 5 companies who need, I'm not going to say the most work, but who need to up something in their company. So, starting with number 5, the WWE. They've been on the road recently since the official merger and since Triple H has been put in charge. But they can always be perfected. They can always be better. And I'm going to point to one part, and that is making more female stars. Essentially, if you really look at it, when it comes to the true ultimate star power, you have Becky and Rhea, and to a lesser extent Bianca on the main roster. Charlotte's a star, but she doesn't have star power. They're pushing Nia. Nia's getting there. As much as I love Kyrie, Io, Asuka, and Bayley, they're not the stars. They're great. They're fantastic. We can point to Rhea really just dominating the Raw Women's division for most of the year, and no one ever truly seeming like a challenger. So they have to do that, and it's easier said than done, and they have a better opportunity to do it on Raw with Rhea, with Becky. They're doing it with Nia. They have a star in the making in Chelsea Green. They just have to uplift that. SmackDown's harder because you have Bianca. You have these influx of really good wrestlers on the SmackDown roster, especially with Damage Control. But that's it. And Charlotte's out for most of the year. So who's going to step up? AEW, number 4. I can pick and choose a lot of things, but I'll stick to one. People can't keep disappearing. Sammy Guevara said it really well a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. Takeshi had defeated Kenny Omega in back-to-back matches on pay-per-views. Nobody remembers. Powerhouse Hobbs defeated and destroyed Jericho. No one really cares. I don't mean disappearing in the sense of leaving, going away on TV, but that momentum leaving. They have to keep the momentum up. They just have to. TNA, number 3, the rebrand. This one is also simple for me. More women's tag teams, or at the very least have the Knockouts tag team titles be defended outside of the company, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the month. I believe next week's episode is our TNA wish list, but that's what I want to say. I don't just want the Knockouts Tag Team Championships to keep going back and forth between an established team and then like 2 of them that came together. Do more with it. Number 2, MLW. This one is simple for me. You have a quote unquote TV deal with the streaming on the CW. Use it, promote it, get your name out there, and use that to elevate you into more shows. You have a really good roster. You're losing some people, but you can always bring in more. And I think people know what MLW is, but they rarely get to see it. A company like Major League Wrestling would be a great independent promotion. MLW could essentially become the new Ring of Honor. And I really wish that for them. And number one, it's very, very obvious. NWA. Get your shit in order. You have the name of NWA. You are an icon when it comes to professional wrestling. Fix your company. Lock in stars. Find some kind of deal. Get better shows. Just be better. It's that simple. Just be better. But let me know what you guys think. We'll be right back with our Superstar Spotlight. The spotlight today falls on one Mariah May. She made her debut on AEW, and she gets it. Mariah May gets it. Only at the age of 25. She has a very, very bright future in front of her. She may not be the strongest in the ring, but you can overcome that. And she's got character work, and she looks amazing. And I'm not even saying she's bad at the ring, because she's not. She's made a name for herself on the independent scene, wrestling for Rev Pro, wrestling for Stardom. She has won championships around the world. She was the Goddess of Stardom champion. Tag team with one Mina Shirakawa. So they have enough faith in her in Stardom to put a championship on her. Not only that, she already ranks in the top 100 of the PWI 250 from last year. She gets it. And she is on her way to being a strong face and an even stronger heel in AEW. She was part of Club Venus, one of the top, if not the top women's faction in all of professional wrestling. And she did some really, really great work there. The spotlight is on Mariah May, and it's on her for a very, very good reason. Watch out for her. All right, welcome, folks. It is time for the top story. And what is today's top story? Well, we are making our predictions for 2024 for the WWE and AEW, and then stay tuned for next Tuesday that's coming up for more predictions for AEW and the WWE. But let's get into it. Let's truly dive into it, and we're going to start with last year's predictions. What did I get right? And I'm going to be completely honest with you all. I got a lot right. So my WWE predictions from last year from the first video was the brand split would be better. Kind of missed on that. Zayn would get a mega push. He got enough of a push. Got that right. Women's tag team will be elevated. Did not get that right. Keep mid titles important. Definitely got that right. Cody will become world champ. Didn't get that right. And CM Punk will return. Got that right. Don't know how I got that right. On the AEW side, We had Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega 2. I'm sure we got that. I think we got that last year. The Dark Order will win gold. Didn't get that. Layla Hirsch will return. Got that. Mercedes Moné would sign. Didn't get that. Takeshi would get a push. For the most part, he did. Jamie Hayter is a star. This is a push because she got hurt. Private Party and Butcher and Blade would get a push. Got that wrong. And Swerve will win gold. Did not get that right. So I got a nice chunk correctly. But let's get into these predictions now. So for the WWE, we're going to start with them. First things first, Cody Rhodes will become world champion. And not only will he become world champion, he will become the WWE champion, not the world heavyweight champion. At some point, since I'm saying this, either he or Seth are going to swap rosters. Because remember, Roman is carrying two championships, the Undisputed Championship and the Undisputed Championship, the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. So essentially, Cody's going to win the WWE Championship. They're going to retire the Universal Championship so Roman Reigns could have that modern day record. But Cody Rhodes is going to finish his story. Cody Rhodes is going to finish his story somehow, some way. Cody Rhodes will finish his story. This is what he came back for. It would very much suck if Cody Rhodes didn't win the WWE Championship this year. But things change. Do I believe that he will win it? Yes. I truly, truly do. The women's tag team division. Elevate it. Bring it up more. And they're doing that right now. It's a good start. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are your current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, right? And they're probably the best team right now out of the entire company. They're a true bona fide team. They have tag team moves. They have combos. Yes, Chelsea and Piper work, but again, it was two singles wrestlers thrown together. You got to grow to be a team. But then you have other women that really would just work and fit on a team. So you have Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, The Way. That just has to happen. Just get them in a feud with The Way. I'm sorry, with Katana and Kaden. Then you have Ivy Now. I think Ivy Now and Maxine Dupree will be a good tag team. I truly believe that. Maxine needs to grow and get better, but Ivy is a good hand. Natalya and Tegan, push them. Let them grow, the rookie and the veteran. No need to split them up. Right? Then you have Zoe and Shayna. They are working right now as a team. That's already Zoe and Shayna, Tegan and Natalya, The Way, Katana Kaden. That's 4 teams right there. So you can do something with Zaya. You can do something with Piper. I'd be fine with that because they just can't be left out in the wind. And then over on the SmackDown side of things, you clearly have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Do something with them. You have Damage Control, which is 4 women. So you have the Kabuki Warriors right now. Io, Kairi, and Dakota. Dakota's hurt, but at some point I could see Io being moved in with the Kabuki Warriors, and then you have the Sky Pirates, which was Io and Kairi, and you have the Kabuki Warriors, which is Kairi and Asuka. So there's another tag team right there, right? SmackDown's a little harder. They need more depth in that women's division. Tamina's not used. Zelina could fit, but what are they doing with Shotzi? You know what I mean? What are they doing with Michin? Make them a bona fide team Michin and Zelina, I think, would be really, really good together. And then over on the NXT side of things, you have an abundance of women, right? You have the metaphor of Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, right? You have Kiana James. You have Tatum Paxley, JCJ. You have Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. You have tag teams down there too. You have to elevate this division. You have to give the women more. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch has to happen. It's not a want, it's not a need, it has to happen. This is one of, if not the top money match currently in your women's division. They should main event night one of WrestleMania. Rhea has been dominant, and as much as, Becky's been in the main event, Becky needs to put over Rhea just to make Rhea an even bigger star. Becky can suffer a loss and be fine. Rhea Ripley has dominated the women's division. First on SmackDown, now on Raw, and she doesn't have any challengers. Her only challengers are Becky and Nia, as they're both on Raw. Her other challenger on SmackDown would be Bianca Belair. That's your other money match. So Rhea versus Bianca kind of has to happen. Rhea versus Becky. Well, Rhea versus Bianca also has to happen. Naomi is going to come back to the WWE, and I think we can pretty much lock this. In her time with as Trinity in Impact Wrestling, now TNA, was absolutely fantastic. She was champion for the better part of more than half the year, and she is locking it down. She is a phenomenal talent, and my only fear is her returning to the WWE. She might be overshadowed. That's my fear with a lot of women coming in, is that there's already women in, because there is an abundance of women. There are a lot of women already in NXT that at some point will be called W. You have women on the main roster, and obviously people are going to be released. But what benefit does Naomi get by returning to the WWE? That's all I'm saying. This is a wild prediction. Nah, it sucks saying it. CM Punk will at some point in 2024 become world champion. I think it is just going to happen. I think it sucks, but what did they promise him when they re-signed him? Now, obviously, he has to be on his best behavior, but who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? And they've already been building to it. Like, I truly believe we're going to get Seth versus Cody at WrestleMania. I think it's going to happen. And I think Seth versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. I think Punk's going to win. I think CM Punk is going to be world champion sooner rather than later. And speaking of world championship, there's a man that currently holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, and we are getting closer and closer to the deadline to cash in. Money in the Bank 2024 is taking place in Toronto, and the date will be July 6th. So Damian Priest has pretty much 6.5 months to cash in this briefcase. And recently, the briefcase cash-ins haven't been that great. He's going to get this push. You just don't give the briefcase to someone that you're not going to push. You know what I mean? And there's already been tension teased a lot recently in the Judgment Day. It's going to be tough because they just work and they click. I don't think he needs to leave the Judgment Day to become world champion. I think it would only solidify that championship more and solidify the group more if he kept the gold in the group. But Damian Priest will get a push. Whether as a face or a heel, who knows? Will they do something like turn him face and have him team up with Bad Bunny? Heal the past? We'll find out. Chad Gable will win gold. Chad Gable will become Intercontinental Champion this year. Chad Gable will become Intercontinental Champion this year. He will defeat Gunther, and he will do it before before WrestleMania. Finally, we got past the crappy Shorty G shtick, and it's been absolutely money with the Alpha Academy, him and Otis, and then adding Maxine Dupree, and then adding Akira Tozawa. It's good, and you see they've transitioned Otis to a tag team with Akira Tozawa, so Gable can focus on singles go, and now they've got working with the Creed brothers and Ivy Now. This is good. This needs to be the year that Chad Gable is given that push. Forever, how long it's going to be, you need to give him that push. And lastly, NXT. Carmelo Anthony, Braun Breaker, Roxanne Perez, and Elektra Lopez will all be called up this year. I understand keeping Elektra down for the work, but she could definitely fit in with Santos Escobar's new LWO to oppose the other LWO, even though she was just there with the OGs. How will that work? Essentially, just call her up and put her with Zelina and make them a bona fide tag team. Just do that. Roxanne Perez, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Roxanne Perez is the best women's wrestler on the NXT roster. Sorry, she just is. She's the prodigy. She's the prodigy for a reason. She doesn't need to do anything in NXT anymore. She needs to be called up and start getting those reps on the main roster. Okay? And the lesson about Melo and Braun, whatever. They don't need to be in NXT anymore. They need to be called up and be treated like the stars that they are. Keep them separate. I can see Braun on Raw, Melo on SmackDown. And we can build up to something, but they need to be called up. Those four people specifically, because I think there are other people that can be called up that really won't succeed on the main roster. It's not their fault. Like Dragunov doesn't need to be down there, but how will he really do on the main roster? I don't think so. I don't think so. But that's the WWE predictions, and now we move over to the AEW predictions. They can be either really hard or really easy to predict, because sometimes it seems like AEW flies by the seat of their pants, and other times they clearly have an obvious direction of where they want to go with their stories. But we're gonna make some predictions right here, right now, about what's to come for AEW in 2024, and we'll start with a big one, which has been rumored for a while now, but I think will finally come into fruition. Mercedes Moné will sign with AEW. And then Julia will sign with AEW. These are two of the top women in all of professional wrestling. Mercedes Moné is the top free agent between the men and the women. She just is right now. Injuries have hampered the end of her 2023. So she never really got that time to shine, to show what she is, what she can really, really do. And Julia has just been growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's like, oh, wow, who's Julia? Yeah, she's awesome. I don't think Julia will sign with the WWE, even though they have been treating the Joshis better. I think the reason Mercedes and Julia will sign with AEW is because they can still have a working relationship with New Japan and with Stardom. You sign these two women, your roster becomes one of, if not the best women's roster in all of wrestling. So we currently have Anna Jay, and I'm sticking with the people that are featured pretty much on AEW right now, so Athena won't be included. Sorry, because she's in Ring of Honor. But you have Anna Jay, Deonna Purrazzo, When she comes back from injury, Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida. When she comes back from injury, Jamie Hayter, Julia Hart, Chris Statlander, Mariah May, Nyla Rose, Red Velvet, Riho, Ruby Soho, Saraya. When she comes back from injury, Serena Deeb, Sky Blue. When she comes back from maternity leave, Tay Mello, Thunder Rosa, Toni Storm, Willow Nightingale. You add Mercedes, you add Julia. That's a fantastic women's roster that I will put head to head versus anyone else's roster. You solidify yourself. And now it's a matter of what do you do next. But I think Mercedes and Julia will be signing with AEW this year. Prediction that I had last year that didn't come to fruition, but I am 100% positive will come to fruition this year. Swerve Strickland will win gold. And when I made that prediction last year, I was essentially saying he's going to win, the International Championship or the TBS Champ or the TNT Championship. No. Nah. Swerve Strickland will become your AEW World Champion this year. It's written in the stars. This is about as safe as bet as you can get. Swerve Strickland is on a roll. And I remember doing the Friday Night Your show sometime last year, and we did a either or. Who would you pick your face of the company to be? And the moment we got to Swerve, I had to pick anybody over Swerve. Period. Swerve is that dude. He is that man. He is a star. You can see it. It is time for him to win gold. Period. Now, returning from injury, I made this prediction last year. Jamie Hayter will become a star. She was clearly, I think, in my opinion, supposed to win or at the very least defend the Women's Championship at All In last year. When she comes back from injury, she will win the championship at All In. Period. I miss Jamie Hayter. And when she comes back, it just brings in that added depth of the women's division that I really, really spoke about. She doesn't need to be saddled with Britt Baker anymore. She doesn't need to be her hanger-on. Jamie Hayter can succeed by herself. Now, maybe they want to use Britt as a mouthpiece for Jamie. Sure. But Jamie Hayter is a star and needs to be treated as such. I made this prediction last year. I'm sticking with it this year. Private Party will get a push. They are, in essence, AEW originals. They have wins over FTR, over the Young Bucks, over a lot of good teams. But they've rarely, if ever, sniffed gold. But now that Mark Quinn is back, Private Party can get it. I think they'll actually win tag team gold this year. They're one of the few original teams that really hasn't won gold, with the other being the Dark Order and the Proud and the Powerful, who are now split. Oh, and the Best Friends. Those guys need to win gold at some point. The fact that the Best Friends minus Orange Cassidy haven't sniffed gold, haven't touched gold, sucks, and we got to change that. Same for Private Party. I think people are really going to like this one, but Ring of Honor remains more separate. Now, that doesn't mean Ring of Honor won't be featured on AEW television. I do think Ring of Honor will still be featured on AEW television. That's just the way to get eyes onto Ring of Honor. But we're going to establish a firm split with specific superstars. Like, I don't think we're going to see Billy Starks on AEW television anytime soon. I don't think we're going to see Layla on AEW again. I don't think we're going to see some of the other men on AEW again. I also think we're going to bring in more people to elevate Ring of Honor. Like, Brian Keith needs to be signed and handled perfectly in Ring of Honor. He would be a great fit for Ring of Honor. Elevate Shane Taylor. There are things you can do with Ring of Honor, and it's there. It's right there for the taking. And Tony Khan is a smart He's a smart guy. He can make it work. He can make it happen. I love Ring of Honor. I watch it weekly, try to, and they can work some magic. Eddie Kingston is your Ring of Honor champion. That works right now. And you're going to use guys like him to go back and forth with the goal to bring eyes onto Ring of Honor, right? Like if you look at the women's roster, Athena, Billie Stark, Charlotte and Robin Renegade, Diamante, Kiera Hogan, Lady Frost, Layla Gray, Layla Hirsch, Marina Shafir, Mercedes Martinez, Rachel Ellering, Taya Valkyrie, Trish Adora. I love that. Now, there's somebody else I'm missing that's going to be featured on the Ring of Honor. Oh, now Nyla Rose is currently featured there. Like they can do some things there, and then on the men's side, like I can see Action Andretti going back and forth, the Dark Order going back and forth, Push and Heligo, Push AR Fox. Like there are guys there. Push the boys. I love what they're doing with Dalton Castle right now. You can work some magic. Ethan Page, Vikingo, command. Like it's there for the taking for Ring of Honor to become what it once was, and that's what we truly need. The trios division, I think, will be ramped up in AEW. That needs to happen. We were doing very, very well last year until injuries got involved. But with the current champions being the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, right? We have teams in the trios division. So we have, we don't have QTV anymore, but we have Top Flight Action Andretti with Dante and Darius Martin. We have the Undisputed Kingdom, right? We have the Death Triangle when they come back. We have the Luchas currently with Penta, Commander, and Vikingo, right? We have Menard Parker and Jake Hager. We have, who else do we have when it comes to the trios division? We have Christian, Kill Switch, and Nick Wayne, which they haven't had a trios match yet, but they're there. We have the House of Black, former champions. We have the Best Friends. There are teams there for the taking to have a fantastic division. I am so ready for it because that series that we got last year when it comes to the trio championships was amazing, man. And I think essentially you need to unify the AEW and the Ring of Honor trios championships. Ring of Honor doesn't need a trios championship. They just don't. Sorry. This is one of the things that can go back and forth, like how I think the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships should go back and forth between the roster. Same thing with TNA. We'll get to that. They need to do that with the AEW Trios Championships. And I'm putting these. I'm gonna put these two together. More women's tag team wrestler and just treating the women's division better. Do I believe that AEW needs a women's tag team title? No. Do I think we need more women's tag team wrestling? Yes. Do I want to see the women featured more? Yes. Do I think the women's division needs to be treated better? Yes. Do I think they need to get more than one match on Dynamite? Fuck yes. Rampage this past week had 2 matches. Now, one was a squash, but it had 2 women's matches. Just feature them more. We want women's wrestling. We love women's wrestling. You have the stars. You have the talent. Tony Khan. You have it. It's sitting right there in front of you. It's not hard. If you want to sign Mercedes and Julia, you have to show them that you can do better by your division. It is that simple, Tony. That simple. We want to see them succeed. The reason that the knockouts have done so well is because they were treated as equals to the men. The reason the WWE can main event pay-per-views and open and close shows with the women, because they treated them for the most part as equals and gave them the time to grow. And you can do that, Tony Khan. Those are my predictions so far for AEW and the WWE this year. We got more coming up next week. But that's our show. Thank you as always for listening, for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Our upcoming schedule for next week, we have our more AEW and WWE predictions list coming up on Tuesday. We have Flashback Friday next Friday. We have our Reddit content coming up on Thursday. And we have the next episode of the High Risk Wrestling Podcast, which will be the TNA Wrestling Wish List. That's should be fun. But that is the show. Don't forget to check me out on the socials. Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube. Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram. The 215 on Twitter. We got Coffee. We got Patreon. We got the Wix site coming. Those are the socials. And as always, Gigi Dolan, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statler, Anna J, Ivan Dawn, Bailey.